The sun is dipping again, sliding toward that molten horizon that makes every shadow stretch like taffy across the sand. You're back near the temples, where the late priests are still fussing with their instruments, those sun-tracking sticks and carved stones that, for all their cleverness, are about to be rendered completely useless. Because night is coming, and night doesn't care about shadows. You feel the air cooling, a slow exhale from the desert. The palm trees whisper, the stars blink awake one by one, and someone nearby lights an oil lamp that flickers gold against a wall of hieroglyphs. You can almost hear the collective sigh of Egypt, farmers heading home, servants sweeping courtyards, guards preparing for long shifts under the moon. And here's the problem. The gods expect prayers even after dark. Temples have to time their rituals to specific hours of the night, whether for funerary rites, astrological readings, or just making sure Ra's soul doesn't oversleep before his morning boat ride across the sky. The priests, naturally, refuse to accept we couldn't see the sun as an excuse. So they invent something new. You walk inside a dimly lit chamber, and there, under the watchful eyes of two sleepy apprentices, stands a clay vessel about the size of a pumpkin. A tiny hole has been pierced in its base, and from it, water drips steadily into another jar below, plop, 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 each drop marking a moment of time. Congratulations! You're watching one of humanity's first water clocks, or clepsydra, literally water thief. The Egyptians didn't just count shadows, they decided to measure time by controlling flow, ingenious if a little leaky. The priest explains softly that each jar is marked with careful lines inside, each representing a specific duration. When the water reaches a certain level, the hour has passed. Simple, yes, but also mesmerizing. The steady rhythm fills the silence of the temple like a heartbeat, slow, patient, and strangely soothing. You could almost fall asleep to it. You probably will. Historians still argue whether the clepsydra was originally invented by Egyptian astronomer Amenemhat or developed collectively by temple engineers tinkering during long night shifts. Either way, it becomes the backbone of nocturnal ritual. Some even have adjustable markings for different seasons, since water flows faster when it's hot. You can almost picture the testing phase. Priests standing around saying, "No, no, that's way too drippy for winter." But here, where the Egyptians outdo themselves, they start decorating the clepsydras, not just with functional lines but with elaborate carvings of gods, stars, and even little hieroglyphs indicating festivals. One beautifully preserved example, found in Karnak, shows tiny constellations mapped around the rim, linking the flow of water with the motion of the heavens. You crouch closer to the dripping bowl, feeling the faint humidity on your skin. It's a miracle of precision and patience. Somewhere, a scribe is nodding the hours, counting each jar filled, ensuring that no priest misses his midnight cue. Imagine living in a world where your alarm clock is a whisper of water, a trickle of time itself. And yes, it's not perfect. Sometimes the hole clogs with sediment. Sometimes the apprentice forgets to refill it. There are even stories, half-jokes, half-truths, of priests waking up late and blamming an unusually viscous offering. But overall, it works. The Egyptians can now measure hours even when the sun sleeps. You follow one of the temple attendants outside, where the moonlight paints the sandstone pale silver. He gestures proudly toward the stars, explaining how the heavens mirror the earth's divisions of time. Each night hour corresponds to a particular constellation's rising. They've turned the sky into a clock face. And you realize, standing there, that Egypt has quietly solved one of humanity's oldest anxieties: how to bring order to the endless dark. Where other civilizations saw chaos, the Egyptians saw a system, a cycle of measured light and shadow, water and stars. Of course, this mastery of time wasn't just for religious precision. It had very practical uses. Officials began using clepsydras to measure work shifts, to time speeches in court, even to regulate the guards at the city gates. Bureaucracy, it seems, was already alive and well. Somewhere out there, an ancient supervisor is scolding a guard. "You were 2 jars late for duty." Still, there's something peaceful about this method. You think about your own alarm clock, the digital beep that yanks you awake with all the charm of an air horn, and you can't help but envy the Egyptians a little. Their alarms didn't shout, they whispered. Time wasn't a burden, it flowed. A priest passes by, adjusting the wick on a small oil lamp. He smiles faintly, mutters a prayer, and vanishes into the glow of the temple hall. Behind him, the sound of dripping water continues, steady and eternal. You sit for a moment, counting the rhythm, imagining what it must feel like to trust your entire world to something so fragile. The water clock marks another hour, and someone rings a small bronze chime. It's subtle, but in that sound lies the ancestor of every alarm bell that will ever exist, from the cuckoo clock to your smartphone. As you stand to leave, the youngest apprentice tugs at your sleeve. He shows you his experiment, a smaller clay cup with a hole punched crudely through its side. He grins and says that if he times it right, he can wake his master before dawn. You watch him test it, fill it, set it beside the bed, and wait for the soft splash when it empties. It's clumsy, but the idea is there. An automatic wake-up, powered by nothing but gravity and curiosity. You can't help but smile. The first alarm clock has just been born, not with gears or springs, but with patience and imagination. Somewhere in that quiet temple courtyard, under the endless Egyptian stars, a civilization learns to wake itself up. And as you walk away toward the sleeping river, the last thing you hear is the gentle sound of dripping water, each drop another heartbeat of time.